Men don't understand this until it's too late. Let me start with something most men only realize after the damage is done. The woman you meet is not always the woman you marry, and the woman you marry is not always the woman you end up living with. Most men think relationships fail because women change. That's lazy thinking. That's cope. What actually happens is far more uncomfortable. Many men don't meet a woman's nature, they meet her strategy. And they don't realize it until the ring is on her finger, the baby is on the way, and the leverage has shifted. Here's the part men don't like to hear but need to understand before it's too late. Once a woman crosses a certain age threshold, mid to late 20s, you're often no longer meeting her as she is. You're meeting the version of her she believes will secure the outcome she wants. Sweet, agreeable, supportive, low conflict, easygoing. Not because she's fake in an evil way, but because pressure changes behavior, and biology doesn't care about modern feelings. At 27, 29, 30, the stakes are different, the urgency is different, the calculation is different. Every date becomes an audition. Every interaction is measured against one question: is this man my future? That changes everything. Compare that to a woman at 22, 23, 24. She's not in a race. She's not negotiating time. She's not filtering herself to fit a long-term role. She has no reason to hide friction, no reason to suppress her moods, no reason to manage your perception. What you see is what you get. That's why younger relationships often feel chaotic but honest, and older relationships often feel calm but curated. This is where men get blindsided. They marry the woman they dated, but they live with the woman she stopped pretending not to be. And before someone rushes to get offended, listen carefully. This isn't about women being villains. This is about men being naive. Men assume consistency without verification. Men believe words over patterns. Men confuse short-term behavior with long-term disposition. That's the mistake. When a woman is under pressure, biological, social, internal, she will optimize for outcome, not authenticity. And once the outcome is secured, the incentive to maintain the performance disappears. That's when men say things like, "She wasn't like this before. She changed after marriage. She changed after pregnancy." No, the conditions changed. The environment changed. The leverage changed. You just finally met the whole person. This is why so many men feel trapped, resentful, confused years into marriage, not because the woman transformed overnight, but because the man never understood what he was actually selecting for. Now pause here, because if this is hitting uncomfortably close to home, that's not an accident. If you're getting value from this, hit the like button so this conversation reaches men who are about to make irreversible decisions. Subscribe if you're serious about understanding female behavior without fantasy. And drop a comment if you've seen this play out in real life. Your story might save another man years of regret. Let's keep going. A woman under time pressure behaves differently than a woman without it. That's not an insult, it's evolutionary reality. Men operate on potential, women operate on security. When security becomes urgent, behavior becomes strategic. That means conflict is postponed, not eliminated. Red flags are hidden, not resolved. Compatibility is simulated, not tested. And men fall for it because men value peace more than truth in the short term. But here's where it gets dangerous. The traits men find attractive early on, agreeableness, warmth, flexibility, are not the same traits that determine long-term harmony. A woman can be cooperative without being respectful. She can be sweet without being accountable. She can be supportive without being stable. And men don't test for those things because they're distracted by chemistry and convenience. That's why the shift feels sudden. Once commitment is locked in, the patience disappears, the tolerance evaporates, the expectations skyrocket. The man thinks, "What happened to the woman I married?" The answer is simple: the audition ended. And if you're a man listening to this thinking, "So what, should I only date young women?" No, that's not the lesson. The lesson is discernment, not age worship. A woman's age doesn't determine her character. Her behavior under no pressure does. You want to see how she handles disappointment, how she reacts when she doesn't get her way, how she treats people she doesn't need, how she behaves when the outcome is uncertain. That's why rushing commitment is a mistake. Time reveals what attraction hides. Men who get burned are usually men who moved fast because things felt easy. Easy isn't safe. Easy is often rehearsed. Real compatibility survives friction. Here's another truth men don't want to accept. Some women are excellent girlfriends but terrible wives. Some are fun partners but destructive long-term companions. And men confuse performance with permanence. Marriage doesn't amplify love, it amplifies character. Pressure doesn't create flaws, it exposes them. So if you're a man choosing a woman based on how she behaves when everything is going her way, you're gambling your future on a highlight reel. The smart man watches patterns over time. He creates situations where comfort disappears. He delays commitment until consistency proves itself. Not because he's afraid, but because he's disciplined. Because here's the part no one tells men. Once you commit legally, socially, financially, your leverage drops. Your options shrink. Your exit costs multiply. That's not pessimism, that's reality. And men who ignore reality pay for it in silence. So choose wisely, not emotionally, not urgently, not because the clock is ticking for her or for you. Choose based on behavior under stress. Choose based on accountability, not charm. Choose based on how she treats you when she doesn't need you. Because attraction gets you in the door, but character determines whether you can live there. And the men who understand this early don't end up bitter, angry, or blindsided. They end up respected. They end up stable. They end up free. That's the difference between a man who reacts and a man who chooses. Stay sharp.